Welcome to Power Mondays. Blue Mondays are a thing of the past. Your Mondays will never be the same again. We enter our weeks with energy. This is Empowerment Podcast. We are here to empower you, to inspire you, and to equip you. You are chilling with Nompilo Gumede, the powerhouse. Enjoy the show. Greetings, beautiful listeners on this beautiful Monday. This is Nompilo Gumede, the powerhouse, and I'm coming to you today with some great content. I just hope you really had a relaxing weekend and you got to recharge and got to do what matters to you and spend time with your loved ones. You know, rest is very important. Once you rest, then you really realize that, you know, you can conquer the world. So I hope this Monday you are ready to conquer the world because you've got the energy from the weekend, from resting and you're feeling so refreshed. I'm back. I was on study leave and I had to replay some of my old podcasts because wow, studying can be also so demanding. But I'm bringing to you a lady who's not only good in corporate, but she's also excellent in her side hustle of being a property guru. She's also excellent in her service at her church as a leader in the ministry of ladies. Her name is Matshidiso Xaba. Matshidiso, welcome to Power Monday, and thank you so much for always being an inspiration. We see you as one of the ladies in our community that are rising up and taking a lead and are willing to build other women up. I've been following your journey and it really inspires me, and I like your passion about married couples and wanting to build in the society. Let me just say thank you for being an inspiration and welcome to Power Monday.
Thank you, Nompilo. It's very good to be here and to finally meet you, Sisi. I've listened to your podcast and I've been looking forward to this day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Matshidiso, just take us from the start. Tell us about your background. Who is Matshidiso? Where were you born? And we want to know more about you. Before we move forward, we must remind you that Empowerment Podcast is about inspiring, equipping, and empowering. And today's show, you're going to get all these three pillars because, wow, this lady is just going to give us all of that. So you can go ahead and tell us who you are.
Okay, Matshidiso, my background, I actually grew up in Soweto.
Okay.
And I came to KZN to work as an engineer at Ulamin. And the plan was just to stay 5 years and go back home.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I fell in love.
Oh, fortunately for us people who live in KZN.
Yes, and married my husband, Xaba. And we've been here in KZN for all this while. And who I am, I think I've always loved to serve people, especially people, family relationships, marriage, because of the marriage that I was exposed to, and because of family that I was raised in. So I always have interest of how to create that harmony between relationships that are more like mother-child and husband and wife and siblings. To create harmony and serving the community. I love all people.
Oh, wow.
I think it's because my grandmother had such an impact when I was growing up.
Okay.
And I love all people. Even in church, I just love all people.
Sure.
Love to help them out, yeah.
Wow. You know, sometimes you'll never know what people stand for unless you talk to them. I'm seeing you as a corporate giant, but there's actually something else inside of you that is so strong. You also invest in property. What does one need to do in order to get into that field? Do you need to have like a lot of money?
No, I think you just need to learn about how the property market works. And actually how I got exposed to property is through my husband.
Okay.
Which were friends back then. He introduced me to a workshop called Nothing Down.
Okay.
Which is that you don't actually have to have money
All right.
to invest in property. And in that, they were teaching us about that workshop. I remember there were about 4 of us or 5 of us from Hulamin who went. They were teaching us about having good credit records and how to use good credit to work for you.
Sure.
And use that good credit to invest in property.
Okay.
Yeah, rental property. So between myself and my husband, we have 5 rental properties.
5
investing in.
Sure.
And yeah, it's been like that. And we don't even use our money. Just have a good credit record and make it work for you.
Sure.
You know the difference between good and bad. The bad credit record is when the bank is taking money from you. The good one is when you use their money to create a legacy for yourself.
Sure. Because we're always looking at the bank taking people's money, and now you're telling me that it can work backwards.
It can work backwards if you just have a good credit record and choose the property. So we attended lots of property seminars, what to look for when you invest in property and how to make sure that the income that you get from the rental income, for example, the one that you have in Durban, the money that we get from that rental pays for corporates, for rates, and for bond. It covers everything.
So you end up, it covers itself.
It covers itself. It's just in your name. After 15 or 20 years, you have a property under your name that you never really even spend a cent on.
Sure.
The only thing you have to do is to manage the tenants, because sometimes they don't pay rent and all that. Yeah.
Yo. You are talking about a good money strategy, and I really like what you're saying. And wow, to just be able to make money from someone else's money, and your only job is just to manage it. That's what you're saying.
Definitely, yeah. Just know how to deal with tenants. And the other thing that you need to know, by the way, is the tax. Because you need to declare all this for SARS, because residential income is a secondary income. So you need to declare that. You can hire an accountant like yourself to do your taxes for you.
Yeah.
But for me, I do my own taxes because it was part of my business degree.
So you know how to do it. So
I know how to do the taxes, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. So take us through your journey of how you occupied high position as a leader in corporate.
I think, Nompilo, it's always been about being interested in learning. So like I said, I'm a metallurgical engineer by background. That's why I worked for my present company. Then later, because I'm always a person who's interested in people, I thought that being technical is actually not saving me. How can I get more involved in people and to improve productivity at work? Because I see more of, if the company can do well, we are servicing the community as well, by keeping people employed and families can be supported. It's a continuous cycle. But in terms of business leadership, I always have mentors. And I think God has placed strategic helpers around me.
Yes.
I have a mentor at work.
Okay.
My mentors at work have been people who are above me,
yes,
people who are lower than me. You can't
really
get mentored by a person who's lower than you. You just need to know what skill do you need to develop and who has it. And it's not about the position.
Okay.
Actually, my current mentor at work is my colleague on the same level.
Okay.
He just happens to have more years experience, so I lean on that experience.
Sure.
Then at home, my husband as well, who happens to be an engineer.
Okay.
And also a business leader. I always pass through the challenges that I go through at work. I think you're the one who pushes me the most.
Okay. That's lovely.
Yeah. He pushes me the most, so I always, mentorship is very important.
So the ones below you, so you're saying you choose a skill that you want to learn from them, and do you have to account to them?
It depends. Let's say, for example, where I've used that strategy is when I wanted somebody to help me with people skills.
Oh, okay.
Because I was new in the department and then I had some challenges. And because of my training as an engineer, it's more systems and process and all that. So I identify somebody who's lower than me and in my department,
yes,
who was very good in people skills and understand all the people in the department. So of the meetings, the formal meetings, I'll go to that person and ask for advice and say, this is happening. I have the challenge with this person. And she'll give me advice in terms of how to attend to that thing, that challenge that I'm going through. And then maybe a week later or so, I'll come and say, I've tried your idea. It actually worked.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That is so profound. It's actually my first time hearing someone that they have a mentor who is below them. So it means we can learn from everybody around us.
Yes, definitely it's about that. And ability to identify within your team who's strong on what.
Yes.
And using that. And if there's something for you to learn, like she was strong in understanding the dynamics in the department. And for me to learn that quicker, I can use my authoritative power and it will take long. But for me to go through the journey quicker, I had to say, okay, this is the person who can help me deal with these issues.
Sure.
And we have sessions. So we'll have weekly sessions. We'll talk about the challenges that I had with people. She'll advise and I'll go back, implement. And that's how it's like the journey.
I just would like to know though, does she know that she's your mentor?
We don't formally call it a mentor.
Yes.
Yes, we don't formally call it a mentor. It's like it's a relationship at work. So some of the mentorship you formalize them, and there's a document that you feel and all that.
Exactly.
Some of that is more like sharing ideas.
Yes, sharing knowledge.
Continuously going back to that person, sharing the knowledge, talking about challenges and how. And I think that's how most of our informal mentorship happen in our communities.
Definitely.
Because you'll have an older person guiding, a young boy in the community or even our church.
Yes.
You'll have older women guiding us. And that is still mentorship.
Wow.
Listen.
Wow, that is so inspiring. And yes, sometimes you don't even know that that's happening because you are not aware. It's just informal, but it's happening and it's adding value. Yo. And so you are a corporate giant, you are in property, and you also married and doing all these wonderful things. You didn't end with your engineering degree. You continue to study further. You are a mom, you are a wife, you are a business leader. What is your secret to balancing it all?
God.
Oh, wow.
Definitely God. Because I take God at His word. When He says that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I believe that God did not call us for these roles that He's asking us to do, or these assignments, without capacitating us.
Sure.
So if God says you need to be a business leader, it's because He has capacitated you to do so. A mother, because He has. A wife, because He has capacitated you. And I think God is the secret for me. And maybe the second thing I can say, myself and my husband.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why when I'm saying myself. Because it starts with believing in yourself as well.
Oh, okay.
This can be done. It's possible. You need to know what you want and how to balance.
Yes.
But it also helps to have somebody who encourages you, who tells you that, like when I did my MBA.
Yeah.
I actually fell pregnant that year and I wanted to drop out. My husband said, no, you can still complete your degree within the time that is 3 years and you can still have a baby.
Yeah.
No one says that because you have a child, you have to drop out. And we had to change some few things around the house. He had to put his careers on hold for this to make it possible.
Sure.
So to have that surrounding, supporting environment makes it possible. And maybe the last thing is just making your homework for you. And how do I mean that is that we cannot always want to be everything every time.
Yeah.
That's why we have aboneni,
Yes.
auntie,
Yes.
which my aunties, they are a blessing.
Yes.
I've been with that woman for almost 10 years.
Wow.
Because the help that she supports, the strength that she brings with regards of taking care of the kids and all that makes it possible for me to do other things that I pursue. So I don't think that I would be able to do all this if I don't have Auntie Kaya.
Oh, wow. Wow. I am so inspired by what you do and the fact that you admit that you cannot do it all by yourself.
No, you cannot.
You need help from someone that can support you in order for you to reach your goals.
Definitely. And sometimes, Nompilo, I think culture makes it sometimes frowns upon women who are not trying to be ill. So, like, for example, I have a friend of mine who takes my kids. I take my kids to school because that's the morning I connect with them. But in the afternoon, I have somebody collecting them.
Oh.
So it's not necessarily me. And sometimes once in a while, actually, there's a picture of my daughter in my bedroom where she attended a concert and I could not make it. I was out of town on business. But I should not feel guilty about that because her father stepped in, did the makeup.
Okay.
Show her daughter. I actually love that picture because it reminds me, not that I was never there, because somebody else was there for my daughter. And the parenting, it just reminds me that parenting is a two people's role.
Definitely.
And if I cannot be there, my husband steps in and plays that parenting role. And by doing that, we are able to also further our personal dreams because we are individuals as well.
Definitely. Because it doesn't end in marriage. It continues.
It doesn't.
As a person, you have your other needs as well.
And if you lose yourself, that's the one important thing that I've learned over the years that I've been married. Actually, we were talking about it with my husband this morning. That if you lose yourself in marriage, that's why you end up being bitter. When the kids leave, you end up being bitter. You feel like all your life has been gone. And it's mostly for women because we are relational people.
Yes.
Whereas men, they go for their dreams, whether they are married or not, because they are competitive.
Yeah.
That's how. And I always relate this to the story of Adam and Eve. When Eve came, there was already a person around him. So it's very easy for us to be relational. That's why as women, we carry the pictures of our husband, of our kids, our wallets and stuff.
Yes.
Whereas the man can just go when he needs to do something because he knows that I need to go in. So in marriage, our aspiration between men and women will not necessarily be the same.
Yes.
But it does not mean that if we are not too competitive, we have to lose ourselves.
Sure.
Because if you lose yourself, you're going to end up regretting it. I remember, I think 3 years after I got married, I felt like my life just stopped. And I remember this song. I like Your Husband, by the way, because in his books, he always uses examples of songs.
Yeah.
And there's this song that says, in somebody else's eyes, I saw a woman who looks like you. Who was defined by you. I saw a woman who was defined by you.
Yes.
But the song is about this lady who got married, and everything about her was defined about the roles that she was playing. And the roles that we are playing, being a wife, being a mother, being a business, those are external things. There are things internally that we had, me and you, before we even became Mrs. Who and Who, before we became a mother. Those things, they don't die because you got married.
Exactly.
And internally, if you don't work on those things, you're going to see yourself fulfilling a role and you see your life that is not your life, it's somebody else's life.
Sure.
And if you don't know who you are, everybody around you will tell you who you are.
Just because you don't know, then they'll help you figure yourself out.
You are a mother, my wife. Everybody will define you.
But so we must first define ourselves.
We have to define ourselves. If there's any advice I can give to any woman, before you get married, have a perception of who you are. Know exactly what you want. Then also know what God says about you. Then try to bring those things together.
Sure.
And come up with a plan of how am I going to achieve this while I'm still being a wife. I'm not saying neglect your role of being a wife, of being a husband, because even of a wife, I went to a wedding yesterday and I said to the bride, when you get to heaven, God will not ask you where's your husband. Because in heaven we are not going to be together. But God will ask you of the role that you are supposed to have played in the ministry of being a wife.
Sure. Because being a wife is a ministry. Yeah.
It's a ministry. So there's selfhood that comes, which is you internally.
Yes.
Then there's a ministry of wifehood. Then after that, there's a ministry of parenthood.
Okay.
And we need to balance these three ministries. They must all balance. But if you're going to neglect the selfhood, the internal part, and focus on just being a wife, just being a mother, I think, that's when people end up being unhappy and could lead to a divorce.
Sure.
Because they think that I cannot find myself since I'm still married. So the only way to find the selfhood is actually to get out of the marriage.
So that I can find myself.
So I can find myself. And we see why people celebrate divorces. I'm always amazed when people celebrate on social media, says, finally free, finally divorced. I'm celebrating, but I'm saying you can achieve all those things. You can be yourself.
While married.
While married. You don't need to go out because God has made it possible. Has capacitated us for all the assignments in our life.
I feel so I feel like I've been giving the capacity right now. Thank you so much for the empowerment. And in closing remarks for our beautiful listeners this morning, or afternoon or evening, because the podcast is listened to by people any time of the day.
I think for me, the advice will be, life can be too busy. Sometimes it always helps to slow down. And enjoy the present moment. We are always thinking about the next thing that we want to do. After I finish this thing, I need to do this. After I finish this degree, we need to slow down and enjoy the journey. Because in that journey, there's something to learn. And the other thing, which is the experience with me, is that I battled to find my purpose earlier in life. But I think that all that has happened was actually taking me to where I need to be. So all the detours in your life, don't think that they are slowing it down. It's because God is doing something. And actually, you can meet people that are going to take you closer to your destiny. Like yourself, for example. When I first met you, I said, wow, this lady I connect with, I can see how we're going to connect and go, somewhere, our destiny somewhere, maybe they are parallel to each other. But the purpose, your purpose sometimes, it gets revealed through seasons. If I can explain that sometimes, because I was an engineer, that was the season that I was in. And that helped me to provide for my family. That helped me to learn new things. That helped me to buy books that I couldn't have known about before. And the more I learned, the more I studied, the more I said, this connects with me. And those seasons, they bring you closer to your purpose. So don't ever get lost and say, I don't know what is my purpose and stuff. Just be present, use your current situation, and always learn. Be open to learning. I love books. That's why I love your husband. Because I always love to read. And I see lots of things, lots of opportunities, things I didn't know about. Even property. How we got to know about property with my husband is because we bought that Rich Dad, Poor Dad. After reading that book, it opened our minds. There's something out there that we don't know. Then we started Googling, we started searching, we started finding these seminars. And
Sure.
So my advice, definitely keep an open mind, continuous learning, not only your skills, because for us learning is about qualification.
Yes, definitely.
Working on yourself, your beliefs.
Yes.
Because of our background, your mind, transformation, take that knowledge, apply it, let it transform who you are, let it change how you do things. Let not be just a certificate hanging in the wall.
Sure. Matshidiso, you are so amazing, and I don't know, you've just spoken to me, and at church with these ladies after church, we were just talking about the journey of Joseph, that when he was in jail, he didn't know that he'll end up where he ended up. Like life kept turning him in different directions, but because God had a purpose, he kept aligning him and leading him to where he needs to be. So as you're sharing right now, saying sometimes we go through things and we meet people, we don't know where it's leading us. I think it's really a blessing that I got to meet you and actually to get to interview you and hear some of such wise words, some building material. And I believe that our listeners are going to enjoy this content. So thank you so much for making time to be with us here at the Empowerment Podcast.
Thank you, Nompilo. And just by the way, Joseph is my favorite character. I really associate with that story.
Really? Oh, wow. What a coincidence.
That's the first story I told my children about who's your favorite character in the Bible and why. Because of those detours. He took me to his destiny because he believed in God, because he tapped, even in the midst of the challenges.
Yes.
He knew that the source is God and he's not alone. And God showed up for him.
Hey, God showed up.
God showed up for him until he took him to where he needed to be.
Yeah, I like it when he said to his brothers, you meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. Yes.
Yes.
Yo.
Yes.
Wow.
Think beyond people. Think beyond people, because it's never about people.
Yes.
It's about where you are going.
Yes.
It's about, there's the book that you actually introduced me about trauma and all that. And sometimes that book taught me we blame our parents because of things that we think we didn't have when we grew up that could have made us better. But that book taught me that my parents did the best that they could with the resources that they have. And some of the challenges that I went through, they make me appreciate who I am today. They make me appreciate marriage.
Yeah.
They make me appreciate family, the relationship.
Yes.
Being present for my kids, being a conscious parent. Not just being a parent because you have a child. Consciously being involved in your children's life.
Sure.
Engaging them. Teaching them about the future, because that's something I felt like I didn't have when I grew up, but it taught me. And I took a lesson from it.
Sure. I'm so happy. I'm happy that we've had this conversation, and it's a great conversation to start the week thinking, appreciating where you come from, and even if things are not going your way, knowing that God will make things work out for your good.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, dear listeners. Have a happy week ahead. Happy Monday. Bye-bye.